from Mary Oliver. You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. Tell me about despair, yours, and I will tell you mine. Meanwhile, the world goes on. Meanwhile, the sun and the clear pebbles of rain are moving across the landscapes, over the prairies and the deep trees, the mountains and the rivers. Meanwhile, the wild geese, high in the clean blue air, are heading home again. Whoever you are, no matter how lonely, the world offers itself to your imagination, calls to you like the wild geese, harsh and exciting, over and over announcing your place in the family of things. The first weekend in Vancouver, Marcus and I joined two university friends who were in town for the Vancouver Folk Festival. It was a glorious Sunday afternoon. The sky was that true blue color. The ocean water was sparkling. We were right down by the water. The park was full of joyful people dancing to music from around the world. Before we had even found a place to lay out our blanket and pop the baby out of the stroller, we ran into two different congregants whose bright eyes and warm smiles welcomed us. The afternoon was so picturesque, cooling off in the heat, in the ocean, lounging in the grass and the sunshine, listening to Israeli reggae. We took dozens of selfies, our happy smiles filling the whole screen. Everyone around us seemed relaxed and mellow, and I had this sense, we made it. We finally made it. After all the uncertainty of the next chapter of our lives of the past year, the labor of search, the work of lugging all of our stuff across the continent. And here we were, taking in the majesty of the skyline and the water and the music. So, somewhere around dinner time, I started noticing the clouds building up over the mountains. Strange, I thought. It doesn't rain here in July. But, I scanned the crowd. No one around me looked concerned about the weather. Everyone seemed to be wearing shorts or t-shirts. They were carrying small bags that couldn't possibly contain umbrellas. And there were plenty of other parents and kids who were running around barefoot like our kid was, with our friends' children were. But I felt the first drops of water on the crown of my head, and in a matter of 20 minutes, the sky had opened up and water poured down on us. Out of nowhere, it seemed to me that the people around me had procured rain gear. Suddenly, all the other families seemed to have these magical small portable tents that they stuck their children and their strollers in. And just moments before, I swore they had not had umbrellas or hoods on their jackets. I thought to myself, where the heck were you keeping all that? I had this overwhelming sense of being the outsider. The stranger, the one who didn't know, who didn't belong. The dumb, silly one who didn't pack all the rain equipment a family of three needs on a July afternoon to the outdoor music festival. Although, as Lynn Sabran reminded me this week, we do live in a temperate rainforest. In the moment, Marcus tried to assure me that the rain wasn't even that bad. It would probably pass quickly. I frowned at him. Let's just go home. The water was seeping through my shoes, and the car was several blocks away, about a 30-minute walk uphill. And by the time we arrived at the car, the rain had stopped. As we come to begin this journey together of a new church year and of a new ministry, this moment has stayed with me because it is a time when I felt both this incredible sense of belonging and being in the right place, and also this moment of being so visibly unprepared, awkward and embarrassed and uncertain, foreign. Recently, someone at a dinner party described their experience as a child when they moved from Southern California to the Chicago suburbs. And he talked about growing up in flip-flops and board shorts, and showed up on the first day of his new school in white socks and tennis shoes. But it turns out in Chicago, everyone wears black socks and loafers. He ran home from school that day shouting to his mom, "I need black socks now." Maybe some of your families have had similar experiences with the first week of school. We want so much to have the right things to fit in with whoever we are with. There are 1,000 ways we seek to be part of the crowd, to have that sense of belonging, that sense that we're part of a wider culture, that we are included, that we matter. It is a human need to be part of community, to feel ourselves as one among many. And so our efforts often cause us to get focused on socks or rain gear. Whether it's tangible things or metaphorical, we want to have that deep sense of being safe, of being with our people, of being known. Because the truth is, it feels terrible to be the one who sticks out. It can almost be like an uncomfortable, like shameful experience to feel like you don't fit in. And so often the world tells us that to belong, we have to be in a particular way, and that if we aren't that way, then there's something wrong with us. How many of you were told, probably when you were pretty young, to be good? Do you remember that moment? Can you remember a first moment when you were told to be good? For many of us, the early lesson was that in order to be loved or accepted, we had to be good. Maybe we were expected to be good children or good older siblings, good at sitting still and being quiet, or good at getting along with others. Maybe it was good at sports, good at winning, even good at being a good loser. Or maybe the expectation was to be good at numbers, good at spelling, good at getting a girl's attention, good at getting our way, good at getting away with something. Then, of course, being good doesn't stop. There's the challenge of being good employees, good bosses, good providers, good parents, good citizens, good teachers, good role models, good leaders, good enough to get recognized for being good at something. The poet says it so honestly that this is exhausting. You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 1,000 miles repenting. Let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. The poet's invitation is into another way, a way less focused on being good or achieving a particularly defined outside of our self-standard and into a relationship with our soul. Religion and church life are all responses to this human need for belonging and community. And Unitarian Universalism offers this deep well for those who are thirsting, who maybe have been told you don't belong here. Because it is our tradition, crafted over centuries of conversation and reflection on God, ethics, mystery, science, reason, love, that says there is a wider circle to belong to, a larger circle that is holding all. Belonging, in its widest sense, comes not from the right stuff or the right behavior, but simply from our being. Rabbi Abraham Heschel writes, "Just to be is a blessing. Just to live is holy." We all need anchors in this storm to remind ourselves and others that our belonging or that our worth isn't dependent on that feeling of fitting in or that feeling of having achieved some marker of goodness. The simplicity of this message might disguise its importance or its relevance for here and now. Another moment from our first month here in Vancouver. Marcus and I were on the sidewalk, distracted by putting coins or credit cards into a parking machine, when a minivan pulled into the place next to us. The van halted forward and backward, making slow and jerky movements towards the curb and momentarily blocking the street. When the car that was waiting behind the van could finally pass, the driver leaned out his window, gave a disgusted look, and he snarled, "Go home, you Chinese retard." The driver avoided eye contact, and I noticed his son, less than 10, wincing in the passenger seat. We were taken aback, stunned at the anger, the prejudice, the racism. And it was another, "Oh, we've arrived" moment. Oh, that's familiar. Oh, that happens here too, even in Canada, even in Vancouver, even now, even today. I locked eyes with the driver of the van who was ushering his son into the street and away from the car. I shook my head. "I'm so sorry that happened. That isn't how anyone should be treated." Tell me about despair, yours, and I will tell you mine. Meanwhile, the world goes on. Meanwhile, the sun and the clear pebbles of rain are moving across the landscape, over the prairies and the deep trees, the mountains and the rivers. Meanwhile, the wild geese, high in the clean blue air, are heading home again. Whoever you are, no matter how lonely, the world offers itself to your imagination, calls to you like wild geese, harsh and exciting, over and over, announcing your place in the family of things. No matter how well we parallel park, or where we came from, our history, our status, our ability, this is the truth, that we all have a place in the family of things. And the world needs to hear us say this to one another. It is our task to open wide the circle of belonging. In the words of Marge Piercy, It starts when you care to act, when you say we and know who you mean, and each day you mean one more. Someone commented to me that on the North Shore, people talk about two things: bridge traffic and real estate. Is that true? How can we as a people have a conversation about belonging and bridge traffic, about belonging and real estate? How can we make that a conversation that matters? Because these things do matter. They reflect the reality of the world we live in. And they are entry points into bigger questions. Who belongs here? Who is welcome? Who is this place for? How do we embrace and care for those neighbors around us? At the dinner party where I heard this man tell the story of the White Sox in Chicago, it was this experience of a heart opening for me. Right away, I was in touch with the nervous and longing to be accepted kid that I was when I started a new school. Ironically, it's through sharing our difficult experiences, our insecurities and our fears, that we create connection and intimacy with one another. This belonging comes when we recognize our shared humanity and that we all have these times of feeling vulnerable and alone. I wish there was a magical chair, like Maribel found in her story with the help of a grandmother, that would guarantee that we could be known and seen and have a seat at the table. But the truth is, this is our work as a community, to offer this space to one another, to make it a place in which you can share what is pushed aside or hidden or unheard. In this next year and in the time to come, my hope is we delve deeply into this work, that we engage it with our full hearts and minds and bodies. And because it is often easier to remember the moments when we struggle or when we feel that we don't belong, I think that's why we have communities and rituals to bring us back again and again to the reminder of the wider circle that we are a part of. This is why disciplines such as meditation and prayer, intention setting, fix our mind's eye on love and compassion, because without some intention, the mind will go quickly towards negative loops. The sweetness of belonging to this great fabric of life is always available to you. But you have to remember that it is here for you and here for all of us. Just as a way to engage in that remembering this morning, I wanted to offer a water ritual, and I know it's a little weird. It's a little unusual and different. And it's not going to be just right, because the water's muddy and the rocks make this clinking sound. It isn't the pond that I imagined when I planned this ritual, where you would drop a rock in and the circles you would see spread out and you would feel this sense of connection to the wider circle of life. It's not quite that. But it is something. It is a moment to offer yourself a reminder that you are here, one stone dropped into a vast ocean of compassion. So there will be some music playing, and you're invited to come in an organic way. If you're sitting in the middle of the pew, you may feel moved to go and drop a stone in the water when your neighbor does, but you may not. And I trust you to navigate that. You can do it. There's a well of water here in front of the pulpit. There's one by the piano. There's one by that door and in that corner. Take your time. There's no rush. Go when you're moved. Rilke writes, I live my life in widening circles that reach out across the world. I may not complete this last one, but I give myself to it. May we sit as stones in a water of deep compassion and watch our lives spread out in ever-widening circles.